At the end of Kelly Reichardt's film Night Moves, released in 2013, the fates of the three characters are sealed in a brutal and ambiguous way. In the typical anticlimax style of a minimalist and deeply pessimistic approach of their problem. Dina, played by Dakota Fanning, completely breaks down under the weight of guilt after the dam explosion which accidentally killed a camper. She becomes paranoid, almost self harming, and strongly hints to Yosh that she might be in a collapsed state, so weak that she could confess everything to friends or the police. Terrified that she will denounce them, even unwillingly, Yosh tracks her down to the spa where she works and strangles her in a sauna. She dies, a victim of the group's paranoia that she herself had financed. Harmon, played by Peter Sarsgaard, the more experienced ex-marine who remains detached, vanishes right after the explosion. He contacts Josh one last time to order him to shut up. Then, when Josh calls him in tears to report the murder, he coldly hangs up after giving this advice. You gotta really get lost now. Really get lost and stay lost. We never see him again. Harmon disappears completely, likely living as an off-grid hermit, true to his ironic and self-sufficient character. Yosh, played by Jesse Eisenberg, is the focus of the film's final third, and his future after the movie is the most developed and seems hopeless. After being driven out of the collective farm where he lived because his comrades suspect him of something, he kills Dina, calls Harmon in vain, smashes his phone in a parking lot, and flees, seemingly toward California, Sacramento. The film ends with him inside a camping or sporting goods store, an ironic location tied to nature and the dead camper. He picks up a job application form, hesitates over the boxes for address, phone, personal info, looks up maybe at a security mirror, the kind stores use to spot shoplifters, and sees ordinary customers glued to their phones, completely oblivious to the world. Cut. That's the end of the movie. Yoshi's future after the film seems an ironic and hopeless entrapment. The entire film points toward a bleak and claustrophobic outcome. Yosh wanted to destroy the system. He ends up melting into it exactly as Harmon advised, but in the worst possible way. His realistic options for continuing to live or survive is to disappear completely off grid. The pure solution Harmon mentions. Maybe also live in the wilderness like Harmon, with no contact, no phone, no trace. Yosh has the skills for it. He comes from an organic farm, knows how to survive in the forest. But he has no more support network, no money. Dina was a financier, and Harmon refuses to help him. There is a real risk, starvation, extreme isolation, or arrest if rangers spot him. This solution is theoretically possible, but the film shows he lacks apparently the psychological strength for it, at least in the camping goods store. Maybe he could also turn himself and confess. In fact, it's unthinkable. Yosh has already killed Dina to prevent exactly that. He is now doubly guilty: terrorism and murder. Prison or death penalty would await him. Blend in on the surface, become invisible in the crowd. It's the path he implicitly chooses at the end. This is the route he appears to take. Get a mundane job, sales clerk in an outdoor store, live on cash, use a minimal fake identity, avoid anything that leaves a digital footprint. He becomes lost by getting found inside the very system he hated. Supreme irony. He works surrounded by tents and sleeping bags that remind him of the camper he killed, among people consuming exactly what he wanted to destroy. No one recognizes him. He can survive that way, but in permanent paranoia, checking security mirrors, jumping at every cop, relieving the guilty every day. His life will be an empty, solitary existence, without human connection, without a cause, without hope of change, at least for a certain time. Another path remains possible for Yosh. He literally disappears from the mirror. He flees with no address to provide, no phone, no trace. That's where his flight becomes a concrete solution. The Sacramento region in California is a huge agricultural basin: orchards, vineyards, fields of tomatoes, almonds, rice. Seasonal work there is massive, precarious, and lightly monitored. Day laborers are hired on the spot, often paid in cash, without too many questions about papers, as long as hands are available. Migrant worker camps, farms running on temporary crews, piece rate picking, all of it forms a parallel world where you can survive without leaving a digital or administrative footprint. Yosh already used to off grid living. He lived and worked on an organic farm, would find an ironic form of continuity there. He would finally be gone for good, just as Harmon advised him. No boss checking his past, no omnipresent cameras, just the physical rhythm of the harvests and the anonymity of the road. And if even that becomes too risky, Mexico is only a few more days away. The border is porous for anyone who knows how to travel discreetly. Back roads, Greyhound buses, hitchhiking. Once across, the possibilities for vanishing multiply in Mexico. Work in Mexican agriculture, small coastal towns, or simply total disappearance in a country where a low profile gringo can blend in without anyone asking questions. So, in a way, George's flight is not a defeat. It is the unintended fulfillment of his own rhetoric. Living outside the consumer system he despised, he will no longer be the militant who plants a bomb, but the ghost who picks the fruit of the earth he wanted to protect. A precarious, anonymous existence, but a form of free existence. In this imagined post film life, it may be his only victory.